ओम सर्वधर्मस्थापकस्त्वं सर्वधर्मस्वरूपकः आचार्याणां महाचार्यो रामकृष्णाय वै नमः. We are studying the last chapter of Sri Ramakrishna the Great Master as the spiritual teacher, first part. And we have read up to para 18. Those who have the same book as this, page 669. And we have read about Bhairavi's two disciples, Chandra and Girija, how Thakur helped them. And then about Bhairavi herself, we have read one paragraph that it is evident that she had not reached the absolute realization because she told Thakur not to mix with Totapuri. That is a dry path and your bhakti will become dry, and which Thakur did not agree, did not give an ear to that at all. Because Thakur knows that. Sadhana Swamiji has discussed this in great detail. We have seen that in the Bhava Samadhi, etc. That spiritual life completes itself only after Nirvikalpa Samadhi. Till then it is not complete. Till then the person has not reached perfection or supreme bliss or full illumination. So, if that Bhairavi had reached, she would not have told Thakur not to mix with him. And Bhakti, Thakur knew that Bhakti reaches its culmination there. And it's the very speciality of this incarnation. Up to Thakur's coming and even now, people think both. Jnanis think Bhakti is only in Dvaita. And Bhaktas also think we are only in Dvaita. Advaita is not for us. But Thakur has clearly told that Bhakti reaches culmination in Advaita. Our old scriptures do have that, Bhagavatam and all that. But the Bhakti Sampradayas do not believe that. And if we want examples, in Maharashtra there has been a saint, Santa Ganeshwar, and he represents Advaita Bhakti. And Shankaracharya represents Advaita Gyan. And if you describe that further, Swami Vivekananda represents Advaita Karma. So, Advaita, Thakur has told us, without Advaita, do not do any sadhana. So, that Bhairavi did not know. Now, what Bhairavi knew, that we read now in para 19. definition of the animal mode, hero mode, and divine mode of the Tantras. Bhav. Mode here is Bhav. Tantra prescribes three types of sadhana for three different levels of adhikaris. That is the very speciality of Hinduism. Anywhere we go, according to adhikar, the sadhana is prescribed, not the same sadhana for everybody, which is a madness. According to the development of the mind, the next sadhana is taken. So Tantra prescribes three types of sadhana. From names, let us understand, then we shall read what Saradananda Swami has said. Pashubhav. That means man, as man, is difficult to call him a man. His animal instincts are very strong. But he wants to realize God. So the Tantras told him, you should understand you are a Pashu. And from anything which is enjoyment type, you should be far, far away. And full, what we say, external purification you have to maintain. And like that you have to do sadhana. That is Pashubhav sadhana. Sadhana you have to do, but away from enjoyments. Because your mind is weak. You are like animal. So if you want to realize God, you must keep yourself away from any temptations or any objects of enjoyment. Next is Veer Bhav. You are a hero. Now, he has both. Animal instincts are there, but Vairagya also is there. And suppose he is present in the objects of enjoyment. Then the mind will be prone to enjoy that. But he should withdraw the mind. He has the power. Veer. Withdraw the mind living inside the objects of enjoyment. That is your way. That is Veer Bhav. And then Divya Bhav. Divya Bhav has no trace of kamana in him, no trace of enjoyment in him. So for him only meditation wherever he is and whatever he is, that is a different mode of worship. So according to the level of adhikar, Tantra has prescribed three types of sadhana. And Bhairavi was a sadhika of the Veer Bhav. She had not experienced the Divya Bhav. Though in Veer Bhav, she might have been the top grade sadhika. This is the description. So far as we have been told by the master, it seemed that the Bhairavi was an expert in the heroic mode of worship of the Tantras. In that she was expert. In the Tantras, three modes of practice for the realization of God, namely those of the animal, the hero, and the divine, are indicated. Those aspirants in whom the animal feelings of lust, anger, etc. prevail are aspirants of the animal mode of worship. They are enjoined to keep away from all objects of temptation, to keep a special eye on external purity and conduct, to engage themselves in the repetition of the mother's name, Purascharana and the like. Purascharana, you understand? No, everybody, somebody knows, somebody else does not know. From morning, from sunrise to sunset, repeat some mantra. That is called Purashara. That means with a vow to do something. Sometimes Purashara may extend 7 days Purashara, 1 month Purashara, 3 days Purashara. But at least it is from sunrise to sunset. one continuous. So the Pashubhava sadhakas are asked to do Purascharana now and then. Purascharana and the like. Like means the same thing. They take some vow and follow it. No, it is Tantra after all. The meaning of the word Tantra is technique. Technical education, Tantric Mahavidyalaya. You understand? So Tantra means technique. Tantra also means a scripture. Vaishnava Tantra, Vedanta Tantra, Nyaya Tantra also they say. But Tantra in this context means a technique. They have tried to make sadhana practical. Practical instructions of sadhana. But that itself some theory has been developed. So the theory of the Tantras is that God has to be worshipped as mother. That is the main point. The main point of Tantra sadhana is that God is to be worshipped as mother. And worship means take or repeat her name. That is the main thing. So that Pashubhav keep away from all objects of temptation, to keep a special eye on external purity and conduct, to engage themselves in the repetition of the mother's name, Purascharana and the like. So that is Pashiva. The hero, the love of God prevails over the animal feelings. Animal feelings are there, but the love of God prevails. And feelings such as lust, anger, etc., in aspirants following the hero mode. The attractions of the lust and gold and objects of sight, taste, etc., intensify the love of God in them. They understand that the attraction to God that reflects as these objects of enjoyment. So seeing the objects of enjoyment, they are attracted to God more. I'll give you a supreme example. We cannot classify Thakur into anything. But how the apparent objects of enjoyment. You know example? Holy Mother is sleeping on Thakur's bed. Thakur is sleeping near her. He sits up and addresses his own mind. Mind, this is called a woman body. And people think it is highly enjoyable. And she is your wife. Nobody in the world can have any objection if you enjoy. Only one point is there. If you enjoy, you will be bound. Do you want to enjoy? Don't keep one thing in the mind and one outside. Like that, he addresses his mind and extends his hands towards the body of the Holy Mother. What happens? The mind recoils with such a great force that he enters into miracle samadhi. So this is the ideal for Virva. Thakur has already realized, and that is why he could do that. But I am describing what is the ideal of Virva. So we live in the temptations, but don't succumb to that. They therefore should try to devote their whole mind to the Divine Mother, living in the midst of the temptation of lust and gold and other things. What are other things? Kam Kanchana Dir Pralogo, that's all. And remain Adi, and remaining steady under their action and reaction. That means Indriyas and objects will like to act, react. But you have to steady in mind, keep mind in God. They alone can become aspirants of divine mode of worship, in whom lust, anger, etc. have forever been washed away by the strong current of the love of the Divine Mother. And the practice of the good qualities of forgiveness, rectitude of mind, there is no footnote in the original Bengali here. So we need not go to the footnote. This Ashtavakra Sangita is not mentioned here. These merits are mentioned, no? Yes. No, Adi means always I want to see the reference. And the practice of the good qualities of forgiveness, kshama, rectitude of conduct, rectitude, arjav. You must see this list. Kshama, arjava, daya, tosh, satyadi. What is rectitude? Arjava means, understood? English word? Straightforwardness. Straightforwardness is a great sadhana. Because if some difficulty comes, mind likes to cross it by zigzag way. Then sadhana will not improve. So man has to practice that. But in Divya Bhava it has become natural to him. Shama, rectitude, kindness, daya, soft heart. Contentment. Contentment, what is contentment? No, in this word contentment comes, always I want to make some comment on that. If you are content, you will not proceed in spiritual life. Understand this point? I am contented. So why should I struggle?
Contentment outside things. Contentment outside things. Contentment in outside things.
Contentment means what the world has given you, you are content. You have no desire. But discontent about your state of life, you want to realize God. Shall I tell you a story? The great philosopher Socrates in Greece, the people were happy, apparently. Government was looking after everything. So they used to just roam, gossip. And Socrates would go to any group and say, why are we born? What is the aim of life? Where are we going? People used to get disturbed. A few disciples, by this method of questioning, he got some disciples. Plato was the main of them. Now a complaint was lodged in the council against Socrates that he is spreading discontent in the society. And the psychoanalyst of his time, he is so much discontented within, so he is spreading discontent. And punishment, murder, death. He was given poison to drink. Now, what he said in self-defense, we do not know. That means the words. Plato has told those words. Socrates says, a Socrates dissatisfied is better than a pig satisfied. So what is the example of satisfaction? Pig. This you understand? So dissatisfaction or discontent about our present state of life, that is the only thing which forces us to do sadhana. But the main point is that our energy should go toward this only. Otherwise, I want better clothes, I want this, I want that. So energy is frittered away. So discontentment. Understood now? Huh? Frittered away. That means energy is wasted, dissipated. Energy is spent in external things. Instead of that, full energy should be spent in internal progress. And therefore, all the Shastras prescribe this santosh. Okay? I will comment further. In Mumbai, I used to go in a bank colony every Sunday or once in a fortnight. And there one officer asked me before the lecture that those who are satisfied with their life in their life, for them there is no religion, isn't it? He deliberately asked me. I said, what you say is 10% true. But tell me, show me one man who is satisfied in life. Show me one man. Our life is a continuous adjustment with dissatisfaction. That is our life. Now you fully get this idea? Huh. So, go back to the sentence. They alone can become aspirants of the divine mode of worship in whom lust, anger, etc. have forever been washed away by the strong current of the love of the Divine Mother and the practice of the good qualities of forgiveness, rectitude of conduct, kindness, contentment, truthfulness, important, etc. Adi. For this Adi, they have given the footnote in English, the Ashtavakra Samhita. Anyway, Adi, like that you understand. In Gita, Devi Sampatti is there. In the 13th chapter, qualities are there, etc. Has become natural, like inhaling and exhaling. These, in short, are the rough definitions of these three modes of worship. Details he has not given, rough. The best, mediocre, and lowest aspirant spoken of in the Vedanta. In Vedanta, Uttamadhikari, Madhyamadhikari, Mandadhikari. They fit in with this definition. Are respectively those following the divine, heroic, and animal modes described in the Tantra. 20. Brahmani, the heroic aspirant, had not even qualified herself for the divine mode of worship. Expert in hero mode, but she had not crossed that boundary. Although she was the foremost among the aspirants following the heroic mode, the Brahmani could not even develop the qualification for following the divine mode. Very straight statement. Having seen the living example of the master and having got assistance from him, there arose in the Brahmani a strong desire for achieving the qualifications to follow the divine mode. The Brahmani saw that as soon as he heard of Siddhi, Siddhi has two meanings in Bengali. Bhang, you have heard Bhang. In English, what is the hem is also Siddhi. And perfection means Siddhi. Now, Thakur's mind is if he has Siddhi, he will understand perfection. Karana is another thing. Karana, one meaning is why. And Karana means Jagat Karan, Ishwar, Brahma. Now the Tantrikas use these things, wine, hemp, etc. But Thakur, as soon as he hears the word Karana, he might go into Samadhi. For him, Karana means God. Let alone taking either, he became intoxicated with the feeling of his oneness with God, the cause of the universe. That as soon as he saw a woman, whether chaste or unchaste, he was reminded of the bliss-giving and nourishing powers of the Mother of the universe. Divine Mother is the cause of all our happiness and our nourishment. So the woman, what he sees, is nothing but Divine Mother, which produced in the mind, which produced in his mind the attitude of the child of the Divine Mother. And that at the touch of gold and other metals, his hands and other limbs got contracted, even during deep sleep. Who is there who has not the fire of divine love kindled in his heart while he is in the company of such a blazing fire as the Master? That is how Brahmani got the awakening. Who is there who can live in such company without acquiring an aversion for the ephemeral worldly wealth, power, etc., and without knowing that God is more than our own, the eternal relation of ours? This is why we are told that the Brahmani spend the rest of her life in practicing intense austerities. So that is the Guru. The 21, the proof of it. We have also heard from the Master that the Brahmani felt jealous. No explanation that she has not divine love. The Brahmani felt jealous if he mixed with anyone else or paid great respect to any other aspirant or devotee of God. We can clearly understand that attitude of hers toward the Master was like the painful jealousy and distress felt by the grandmother or some other old woman relative of the found child brought up by her when he in later years loves or takes care of someone else of the family. If he marries, then he will love his wife. Then the old mothers will be disturbed, grandmothers. But it was not proper for an aspirant of so high an order, the Brahmani, to have such a feeling in her heart, since she had had the opportunity of observing the master day and night, at all hours for so long a time, in all actions, in all circumstances, in all moods. She ought to have known that the love, respect, etc. of the master were not momentary and fleeting like those of others. She ought to have known that the love and respect he reposed in her were reposed forever, and there was no ebb and flow in them. But alas, O worldly love, and O mind of woman, because this is a speciality of the woman to feel jealousy. Not that it is not in men, huh? Sufficiently I experience. But speciality of the woman. But alas, O worldly love, and O mind of woman, you always want to bind the object of your love forever and make him your possessiveness. You do not like to give him the slightest liberty. You think that as soon as the object of your love gets a little liberty, he will not be yours and is sure to love someone else more than you. You do not understand that it is the weakness of your mind that prompts you to think so. You see, addressing both, what? Worldly love and mind or human. You do not understand that the love that does not allow freedom to the object of love and cannot or does not learn to forget itself and feel happy in what the object of love wants very often evaporates in a short time. Know for certain that the object of your love will remain yours only, and that pure love, free from the slightest tinge of selfishness, will in the end bring for the object of your love, as well as for you, even the direct vision of God and absolute freedom from all bondage. If there is real love, both of you will reach God. Love is a form of God. If you give freedom. If you bind, possess, then attachment. The Brahmani became conscious of her spiritual want by the grace of the master and went away to practice austerity. That is discouraged. She understood that if she remains with Thakur, that will not go. It is very surprising that although she was an aspirant of high order, loving God intensely, the Brahmani did not understand the simple matter or was incapable of assimilating it, even if she had understood it. You understand these two expressions? Understand is by intellect, and actual practice goes deep into the character, in the heart. Then it comes into the conduct automatically. So either she has not understood, or she has understood but it has not come into practice. In Marathi, there is a beautiful expression, नाही. समजलं पण उमजलं नाही. It's in Marathi. I have understood, but it has not come into my practice. In English, again, we'll come back to that. It has not entered deep in me. It has not entered into my habits or character. Yeah, I'll tell a story. I'll give an example. Pandavas and Kauravas started their education. And the first day teacher told two lessons, two sentences. You should always speak the truth. and you should never get angry. Then next day he is asking the student, have you prepared? Everybody is telling, yes, we have prepared, we have prepared. Yudhishthira said, I have not prepared. One thing I prepared. It is very natural to me, I always speak the truth. But never get angry, that always does not come. And the teacher becomes very angry then. You understand? That is now difference, understanding. For Yudhishthira, understanding means it must enter your practice. Either not understood this simple matter or was incapable of assimilating it. Very good expression. Even if she had understood it. But there was indeed the lack of that conviction in her. Placed fortunately in the position of the spiritual teacher of Sri Ramakrishna, she was developing slowly in her mind such ideas as, I am superior to all. They should always obey me, otherwise they will meet with harm. We are told that she did not even like the master's teaching the Holy Mother, which he used to do from time to time. We are also told that the Holy Mother used to be always hesitant and afraid of her and shrank within herself when she heard the Brahmani speak like that. The Brahmani, however, came to realize at last by the grace of the Master that weakness of her mind. She realized that if under these circumstances she kept away from him, she would be able to conquer her growing weakness, and that though the attraction of hers toward the Master was like the tie of a golden chain, she had to break it and go forward along her chosen path. We understand that is sattvic attachment. We understand very well that this was why the Brahmani at last left Dakshineshwar and the holy company of the Master, and knowing that an itinerant sadhu and flowing water never become polluted. That is the saying. What is the saying? Hindi saying? Ramta sadhu bhaita pani. She spent her time in traveling alone from one place of pilgrimage to another and practicing austerities. It is needless to say that it was only through the master's mood of the spiritual teacher that the Brahmani got this awakening. The details you will find in Sadhaka. Now we come to the great Totapuri. 23. The story of the revered Totapuri. Now what does this name suggest to you? Something? Immediately what it comes to your mind? This word Totapuri? This Ananda and Puri is our manufacture, or Swami Vivekananda's manufacture. Either Ananda or Puri. Shankaracharya, sannyasi is eternal. But Shankaracharya organized this sannyasi samaj and give them 10 different titles. Puri, Giri, Vana, Bharati, Saraswati, Chaitanya, Ananda, like that. Ananda. Ananda is a different category. That is why I am saying, if you are Ananda, then why Puri? If you are Puri, then why Ananda? And some name, nickname. Tota. Tota means what? parrot. Tota in Hindi means a parrot. Huh? Just some name, insignificant name. Among the Giri Sampradaya, always I see river names. Like I told Bengali names, ladies' name. Shipra Giri, Yamuna Giri, Ganga Giri, Godavari Giri. Anyway. Now after Swamiji's impact, the whole Sadhu Samaj is putting the Ananda. That is Swamiji's impact. Who was the founder of Kailash Ashram? You know? Dhanraj Giri. There is no Dhanraj Ananda. There was Tirtha is one. There was one in Kailash Ashram next to Dhanraj Giri, next to the Mahanta. There was, I forgot now, so and so Tirtha. That's all. Hmm? No, not Rama itself. Some abstract thing. So, Totapuri. Anyway, I don't want to talk much more, but why we call ourselves Puri? Thakur took Diksha from Totapuri. All old sampradayas have finished, merged in Thakur. Ask me, Pitambaranda Dira. You see my name? Pitambaranda Dira Ramakrishna order. And Nivedita, what she wrote? Nivedita of Ramakrishna Vivekananda. Now, when we mix with other sadhus, and we have to register our name, this and that, they will ask sampradaya, then we have to tell Puri. Anyway, I don't want to discuss more. But some people, very orthodox, they always call themselves Puri. In Nagpur, one of my teachers used to joke on that. Are you Puri? He used to wear neither Puri nor Kachodi. Anyway, here Puri does not mean that Puri. Huh? Puri means a town. Puri, Giri, Vanabharati, like that. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. What was his name? Krishna Chaitanya Bharati. Bharati is also there. His guru was Ishwar Puri. The Totapuri was a tall and stalwart figure. He was able to make his mind still and devoid of any functions whatever in Nirvikalpa Samadhi. As a result of mental abstraction and meditation for 40 long years. What is this abstraction? We should not simply leave words unless we get the bhav of that. ध्यान धारणा एवं असंग भावे भास करिवर फले. ध्यान धारणा and mental abstraction and meditation. So dharana has been translated as mental abstraction. What is dharana now? Important word in spiritual life. And it has two completely different meanings. In Yoga Shastra, it has a different meaning. In Vedanta, it is a different. One must understand this correctly. Dharana, Dhyan, Samadhi, we hear in both. What is in Yoga Shastra Dharana? You know that? Write down if you like, or remember, Desha Bandhas Chittasya Dharana. Desha Bandhas Chittasya Dharana. If your chitta, that means tranquil mind, takes up one space point at the exclusion of others, whether outside or inside, that means this wall is there. Now this cot is there and that bar is there. I am considering a bar. I do not see the cot, I do not see the wall. That is dharana. Or in your own body, hridaya or head or anywhere. Anywhere. Hold on to that spot, finger. Not finger, still spot. That is dharana. And if you continue there, then you will see the inner thing. That is dhyana. Yoga Shastra. And when you see the meaning, that means still inner thing. And that is called samadhi. In Vedanta, completely different ideas. Dharana, in English, instead of this abstraction, conception. Conceive. Now, what is inside the conception? I will tell him more detail because it is practical something. Ishvara Swarup, nature of God. That is Nirgun, Sagun. He is like this, that concept. Then generally in our dhyanas, some form of God, some relation with Him. This is called dharana. In pure Vedanta, God is formless, all-pervading, beyond everything. To conceive that is difficult. So the word has come abstraction. Abstraction has come from this, that what is abstraction? Let me tell you now. We see the gross world. And if you can abstract the essence from that, that is called abstraction. Abstraction means taking out the essence from some substance. Sukshma, abstract consciousness only. So if you can conceive God as only consciousness, Satchidananda, that is dharana. In English, I must acknowledge, I heard this from Swami Sri Ramakrishna Leelaprasanga, who is now in Australia. He always used to refer to conceptual knowledge.
Dharana means paroksha.
Dharana means?
Paroksha. Paroksha.
Para?
Paroksha. Paroksha.
No. Paraksha means only intellectual. Somebody has told about God, that is not God. Dharana is the beginning of experience, I will tell you. And when it develops, it is called Dharana. And when only that remains, it is Samadhi. Samadhi in Vedanta is not concentration of the mind. Samadhi in Vedanta is knowledge. Nirvikal Samadhi is Vritti-heen man. We have seen that. Why Vritti? There is no object. So Dharana is developed. I will tell you a joke. Then you understand. Of course, this conception in English and Dharana of Vedanta, similar word do you know? Garbhadharana. Is it Paraksha? That Garbhadharana is going to develop into that child, is it not? And English also conception. Now let me tell you a joke. Winston Churchill was the Prime Minister of England. And he was to preside, one of the ministers was to speak. And the minister fumbled. He said, I conceive. He could not proceed further. I conceive 3 times, he said. Then Churchill said, my friend has conceived thrice but not delivered you once. So Thakur has equated this with that, na? Garbhadharana, when happens, the mother-in-law reduces the work gradually. That is the relation between karma and dharma. Okay? So mental abstraction is not wrong, but in this way it has to be delayed. The better word or current word is conceptual knowledge or conceive. Conception meditation. As a result of, and that is generally people talk of dhyan dharana. They think concentrating the mind, collecting the mind, and then concentrating. So he was able to make his mind still and devoid of any function whatever in Nirvikal Samadhi as a result of mental abstraction and meditation for 40 long years. So dhyan is the little more experience. Samadhi is full experience. Now you have made a conception. Then the mental vritti flows towards that. That is dhyan. For 40 long years, living unattached and by himself. Not from the beginning by himself. He was in an ashram. That description is there, great description somewhere in Leelaprasanga. But sometimes he has to remain alone.
The description is given to.
No, wherever some difference comes, I am telling. Living unattached and by himself. Why the sannyasi lives for 3 days only in a place? Because he should not get attached. He should move. But he lived in Dakshineshwar for 11 months. Nevertheless, spent much time daily in practicing meditation and samadhi. Now he has not repeated dharana. The master referred to him as the naked one. as he used always to remain nude, like a boy. But he did no more. But he did so more probably because one should not always take the name of one's spiritual teacher or call him by name. Here one word always is good. Sushma, why you? If you go to some place and they say tell your guru's name or register, then you have to tell. But we do not call our guru by his name. In our mission, 10 president, 5 president, like that people talk. The master said that the naked one never lived in a house and always worshipped the fire as much as he belonged to the denomination of the Nagas. Nagas means naked people. This is there in all Sampradaya, Puri, Giri, whatever, Nagas are there. And they worship fire. The Akhanda Dhuni in Tota's ashram is still there. They keep it burning all the time. Now many Totapuris have arrived. Yesterday, 2-3 days back, I heard somebody had found some Totapuri. Just now he passed away or is living. That Jasbir Kaur had found some image of Totapuri. But those who want to know about Thakur's Totapuri, Leelaprasanga has given. And there is a book in Hindi, Haryana mein Vedanta sadhana. There you will find that. You want to know the place? Kurukshetra, you know, have heard the name. 64 kilometers from Kurukshetra is a place called Ladhana. Now, Saradananda Swamiji has written Ludhiana because it was not a known name, Ladhana. And that has misspelled. But some people search near Ludhiana. It does not say near Ludhiana. Ludhiana near Kurukshetra. And there, Totapuri Samadhi has been identified. And Totapuri is a Mahanta also there. His Guru Samadhi, in that book everything is written. Haryana mein Vedanta Parampara. I will tell a little more, those who are interested. From Chandigarh you go to Ambala. From Ambala if you go towards Delhi, then you get Kurukshetra. But from Ambala you go to another Shiva temple, Pehova. Like triangle. So this Pehova, from Pehova if you come to Kurukshetra, there you will get this Ladakh. I have gone several times, so I tell you. Always worship fire in as much as he belonged to the denomination of the Nagas. The holy time is up. In gossip only time went today. Points are important, but so it may take 2 more classes. Let us see. Om Sarvadharma Stapakastam Sarvadharma Swarupakaha Acharyanam Mahacharyo Ramakrishnaya Te Namaha. Om Shanti 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 Hari Om Tat Sat Sri Ramakrishna Arpanamastu.